Hi there, Coach Barb here. Hope you're off to a great start on your day with a lot of learning and remembering to have some active fun as well. Today's sports fun and learning involves, you guessed it, tennis. Let's start first with our equipment needs. Of course, you need a tennis racket, any old racket will do, as well as a tennis ball or any soft ball, whether it's a Nerf ball or anything that might bounce. On top of that, you need a floor, a hard floor, or if you're outside, a nice cement space where your ball will bounce. And you need some wide open area. Now, let's talk safety. Whenever we are teaching and working with you with regard to a sports skill or session, it's really important, very important, that if you're around anyone at all, that you are a very safe distance apart. That's number one. So if you swing a piece of sports equipment in any direction, you're not going to hit anyone. Second, you have to make sure that the ground beneath you is free of anything you could trip on or cracks that you could fall on. So let's be smart in mind and always think safety. All right. Our first game on session together is all about feeling comfortable with the racket itself. First, let's focus on how to hold the tennis racket. Of course, if you're an advanced tennis player or if you've played before and you know how to hold the racket in a forehand grip, please do whatever you're comfortable with. So what we're going to do first is we're going to, sorry, I may need to adjust my computer every now and then. We're going to put the racket on the ground, face down, so that is face down on the ground. And we are going to simply pick up the racket and shake hands with the racket so that the face of your racket is facing sideways and the head and body of your racket are facing up and down. Now, I'm going to get close here so you can see. The V of my hand between my thumb and my first finger are coming onto the line of the grip on the racket that goes straight up the right side of the racket if you're right-handed. And if you're left-handed, that same V of your hand is climbing up the left side of your racket, all right? And you're simply shaking hands with the racket, like, hello, racket, nice to meet you. Moving on, prior to teaching you or discussing the strokes we use in tennis, which happen to be forehand, backhand, volleys, how we might serve, any kind of tennis fun that involves playing, we first need to, as I mentioned before, just get comfortable with the racket. So, first thing we're going to do is take your racket, make sure you have the right grip, shake hands with that racket, and you're going to put the ball on the racket and just slowly see if you can control the ball and move it around what's called the face or the strings of your racket. Okay? Do that for a few minutes, get comfortable controlling the racket, and believe me, it takes some strength in your arm, and you will be, developing those muscles in your arm as you continue to do this exercise longer and longer. So just move the ball safely around the strings of the racket. Again, this is called the face of the racket. The strings are the face. This part of the racket is called the head. Okay? And the other part you need to know is the grip. What we've been talking about when we shake hands with the racket is the grip itself. Moving on to our next tennis warm-up, fun, is bouncing the ball down, throwing the ball down and trying to keep the ball bouncing for as long as you can by controlling your arm and your wrist. Notice I am not bending my wrist. I'm not flopping my wrist as a fishtail might look. Okay? Instead, I'm keeping my arm firm. Again, you'll feel like your arm might be getting stronger as you do this more and more. And all I'm doing to begin is bouncing the ball down and trying to hit it back down. Okay? Hoping you can see me with this video. Then, as you start to feel more comfortable, we move on to seeing how many times in a row you might be able to keep the ball going as you hit down, okay? So, again, let me adjust my computer here a little bit. Challenge yourself. We here at Game On are always looking for you to challenge yourself. It makes you stronger as an athlete, and as we always say, it's going to always make you stronger in body and stronger in mind. Okay? So challenge yourself and see how many times in a row, and again, this takes practice, you can keep hitting your ball down. Again, my wrist is not flopping at all. I am keeping a firm wrist, and I am not raising the racket above my waist or hip level. Okay? All right. Once you feel comfortable doing that, let's try another challenge. This one is called ups instead of the downs, also known as popcorn. We're doing a little pop, 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 pop. The important thing here is that when you're hitting the ball, you try, as you're popping it up, to keep the ball centered on the racket. So right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of those strings, okay? And first, you want to hit it up, try to catch it, or let it go. And once you feel comfortable just getting that motion down, you can see how many times in a row you can pop the ball up. All right? Okay. Sorry, lost the ball there. When you feel comfortable with your downs and your ups, as well as your rolling, remembering to keep your arm and your wrist firm, and also, of course, keeping in mind that you want to have that right forehand grip so that that V of your hand continues to stay on the right side of your racket, if you're righty, or the left side of your racket, if you're lefty. Okay, going right up the left side of the racket here. Definitely ask your parents for help if you need. If you are an experienced tennis player, see how many times in a row you can do your ups as well as your downs. And if you're really good, you can even try what we call flip-flops. So you're flip-flopping and trying to keep the ball controlled and hitting the middle of your strings. Well, that's it. That's about wraps it up for our first warm-up tennis session. Stay tuned for further tennis instruction and fun as we cover the forehand and the backhand. Look forward to seeing you here again soon. Have a great day. And remember to keep strong in body and strong in mind. Game on.